a lot of black men move more on emotion than thinking through and finding the right strategy to help them out.
Being a father in a situation where all you've known is pain from men. Pain from men that seemed intent on showing you that they were the bigger man, especially when women are watching and other men.
Someone once says that life is full of challenges, and challenges manifest in all sorts of shape and form. And often I speak to black men, and when I speak to black men, I say, sometimes it feels like life throws more than the usual towards us. I think it's important to recognize that there are challenges that we have to face. There are challenges that we need to walk away from. There are challenges that we need to say to ourselves, I need to be a man, a bigger man, and walk away from this. And I think so often in life, when life throws challenges at us as a man, that we want to defend ourselves. We want to say, no, I am the big man. I am the man, you can't treat me like this. And I think there are times when we've got to say, you show and demonstrate you're a bigger man by walking away, by moving out of that context. Now, I know that for some men, it's easier to say than to do, because, say, for instance, if you're in a community and you haven't got the financial means to move out of that context, it means that you're stuck, you're trapped there. And so I think that we've got to look for ways in which we could get ourselves out of this situation that is pulling us down to the level of the people or the situation that is trying to bring us down. And whether, when I look at life, I say to myself, the challenges I faced when I was a young guy, they're different. But I've developed skills and mechanisms to help me to overcome and not to frustrate myself with what other people will do or what other people will say about me or do towards me. I've had to learn to develop those strategic skills, which I didn't learn when I was young. It's interesting, I was thinking about my grandchildren and thinking about Monopoly and chess and draft. And these games are there not just to have fun, but they're there to help us to develop cognitive skills, strategic skills, patience, strategy, the ability to articulate, to think through things. And I think for me that a lot of black men move more on emotion than thinking through and finding the right strategy to help them out.
It's all well and good you talking like this, and talk is cheap. And maybe you're talking like this because I hear the Queen give you some kind of award some time ago. I forget, MB or CB or something she gave you. You understand me? So you got a certain style to uphold now. You're not amongst us. So are you sure some of these responses that you're giving now aren't because you don't live where some of us live? You don't feel what we're feeling. You don't, these are like fantasy stories to you, but to some of us, you may not want to wear our shoes.
You know, I often talk to people. I would classify myself as a roots man. I've never forgotten where I've come from. Regardless of whatever the Queen gave me, I am a roots man who understands the pain. And I tell people that the realities are that we all of us, regardless of whether we become like President Obama, being the first black man in that office, in that Oval Office. And I listened to comments where some people were saying he was the incarnation of the devil. And I've never heard those languages before about any other former president. And I recognize that people are intrinsically wicked. They could say things and do things to us, feel they have power over us, and because they feel that they could abuse their power over us. However, I always say to people, listen, the reality is people will try, people will say, people will do. And it doesn't matter whether you're on benefit, whether you're on, a good salary, wherever you live. These things I grew up with. I grew up with integrity. I grew up with value. I grew up with pride. Something that says to me, it doesn't matter, what you've got or don't. You yourself are somebody. So you respect yourself. And I grew up in a sense that said, with a sense and a thinking that I will never belittle myself, even if it means that I'm eating one slice of bread a day, because I know who I am. And I also remember that song, Fighting on Arrival, Fighting for Survival. And the reason why I remember that is because my experience, and we all still, and I say to black people, it doesn't matter where you are, all of us experience something where people try to pull you down, push you down, or talk you down. However, it is never about what the people do or say to you. It's always about how we respond to them. Doesn't matter who we are. And I tell people all the time, because people, even as I'm growing up in the church, I've met people have said things inadvertently. People have demonstrated things. But I've said to myself, I will never go to their standard. Pride and dignity has always been the core value of my heart. Pride that I'm proud to be black. I'm proud to be a black man. I'm proud to be a Christian. I'm proud to be someone that God has made me what I am. And I think it doesn't matter who we are, where we live, if we have that dignity and that respect for ourselves, people will try, but they will never succeed.
I'd like to believe some of the things you're saying, but when I watch certain channels, G Channel and all these other channels out there, and I hear that if I send $10, $20, that my life will be free of all these things. I just wonder where they're coming from. You understand me? And I'm a Christian now, but it was a long road back. And I was working for this guy, and this guy was a contractor. But he didn't want to pay me. That time I used to walk with something because I was thinking, I need to protect myself. But something about the way I've been brought up, I think that's what it was, just held me back there. And then when the guy came to the door and he came to talk to me, I told him a few words, choice words that my mother never heard me speak. And I tell you, when I walked away with that money in my pocket, something said to me, show the man that you're a bigger man. So maybe you've been living a life sheltered from those kind of vibes and those feelings and those emotions where people, even when God welcomes you, or even when they've got the money to pay you and they're not paying you, they're just disrespecting you to your face. When I walked away, something said to me, you didn't grow like this. What's going on? I don't know where that question came from, but there was a question in my head. You didn't grow like this. Where is this anger coming from?
You know, you and I grew up together. We went to school together. We need more of our black men who feel that people have abused them or used them or disrespect them, not to think about the blade, the thing, the gun, whatever, but to think about actually this has a bigger implication on me than the person that I'm going to hurt. Because what I've seen on these levels, one, first of all, they could lose 10 to 28 years of their life, their own lives. That has an impact on their own family, their parents, their father, their mother, their brother, their sister, their children, their girlfriend, whatever. So for me, it is about what I would call self-control and the ability to reason through any action, any outcomes from any actions that we will take. You know, I think when we're angry about something, when we feel that we're being disrespected, that we can hear voices that says, the man's disrespect you. And how many cases I've heard where young people have said, that guy disrespect you. Are you going to allow him to disrespect you amongst all of these people? What are you going to do about it? And that fuels a young man to take another young man's life that in the end destroy his life because of his action. And what I believe that needs to happen, it is, and we start to talk about father, we start talking about upbringing, because it's interesting. Two thoughts are going through your mind. Wet the blade, but you weren't brought up this way. Wet the blade, but you weren't brought up this way. And I think for me, what's kept you and is constantly a reminder to you is the upbringing that you had. And that's why I put a lot of emphasis on the importance of fathers, black men, being around for their children, black men making positive input to their children, black men being a role model for their children. He cannot be a role model in one of our penal systems. He cannot be a role model if he's fathering and not being there. He cannot be a role model if he doesn't have fun, if he's not affirming, if he's not kissing, if he's not praying with or reading a story or saying good night. He cannot be. And so what we need to recognize that our lives are shaped by the start of our life. What happens in those young age, whether we had bad experience, we're going to go through life, and unless we make some conscious decision, it's going to spin our lives out of control, or we're going to have a life that says, hey, I've been taught some principles, I'm going to apply those principles, and they're going to help me to navigate the challenges and the complexity of life. And that's what I've seen, that's what I've learned from that young age when I became a Christian, that listen, I didn't have a father, but I'm not going to let that be an obstacle to me. I didn't have a man, a black man, my black father teaching me, helping me, showing me this thing. But I was determined it will not stop me from achieving or accomplish to the best of my ability.
gotta do. So why do we do this dance? Are we moving too slow? 'Cause you need reassurance. Don't conflate issues. Why you always jump to? Do I really want you? When you know that I do. You're so scared of real love. 'Cause you've been abandoned with any mistake. They quick to run, and so you run. Jump the gun, but know that you got it. Even at your lowest, you got it. You know that you got it. Baby, take the moment, you got it. It's yours, it's yours, it's yours. My love, just rest assured. I'm yours, I'm yours. Tell me what you're running for, 'cause you don't have to try so hard. Baby, come let down your guard. You think I get my money when I just help you get ready for your interview? You think I like your body when I just cop close that I knew it looked good on you? Who do you think you are? Baby, you're an asset. 'Cause if I'm rocking with you, you're as good as it gets. But you're so scared of real love. Real love, real love. 'Cause you've been abandoned with any mistake. They quick to run, and so you run. Jump the gun, but know that you got it. Even at your lowest, you got it. You know that you got it. Baby, take the moment, you got it. It's yours, it's yours, it's yours. My love, just rest assured. I'm yours, I'm yours. Tell me what you're running for. You don't have to try so hard. Baby, come let down your guard. No, you don't have to try so hard. Let go of your pride. Baby, come let down your guard. Safe to come inside.